I'm not gonna lie, I feel very conflicted about this one.
On one hand, Disney legitimately had the nerve to make another of their live-action remakes, but this time, out of all the films they have in their animation library, it's with The Lion King! For real, dude? I mean, we're talking about animation royalty here. Like, it's the king because it's a timeless masterpiece that's widely beloved by millions of generations to come. And with the infamous reputation of these remakes feeling utterly soulless and end up completely inferior to their animated counterparts and easily forgettable, why would they think that a live-action Lion King needs to exist other than to cash in on nostalgia?
Plus the fact that there are no human characters in The Lion King. It's literally a talking animals cartoon. And we all know that these remakes have no interest whatsoever in paying homage to the Broadway versions. So how can this movie claim to be the live-action version if there are no human characters in the first place? But
on the other hand, this is directed by Jon Favreau, who is not only a solid filmmaker, but this is the guy who directed what many agree to be so far the best of the Disney live-action remakes, the 2016 Jungle Book. While not a perfect movie, it's got the right materials to make a strong remake. A great cast, amazing visuals that can also bring these animated characters to real life, and the right blend of originality and familiarity that honors both the Rudyard Kipling story and the 1967 animated film. If a Lion King remake must exist, then he is the perfect guy to make it, especially with a promising cast that includes Donald Glover, Beyoncé, and the comeback of Mufasa himself, James Earl Jones.
I'm entering into Lion King, inheriting all that I learned on Jungle Book. There was a tremendous opportunity to retell the story using a new set of tools.
So you can see how I feel pretty divided on this one. No surprise that I am a huge fan of the original 1994 Lion King. I even consider him one of my favorite Disney films. But at the same time though, I am not a fan of these recent live-action remakes. I mean, sure, there are some that I actually do enjoy myself, like the already mentioned Jungle Book, and even Cinderella was actually pretty good. But for the rest, I would say they all range from meh to downright embarrassing. And with The Lion King, I could see it go either way. It could either be totally awesome or totally garbage. But now I can finally put my mind at ease. So now I have finally seen the movie and I am pretty clear on what I have just witnessed. And before anything, let me just go and start this off by saying, holy crap, the visuals are absolutely phenomenal!
Remember back when people praised the visual effects of the Jungle Book? That achievement got amplified in this film. It is insane to imagine how most, if not everything the light touches in that kingdom is made by computer. Everything is so lifelike, from the plants, big and small, to the fur and all the different textures, to nailing the movements of each animal. Everything is crafted with such careful detail to make it all feel as natural and organic as possible that this can almost be considered as a nature documentary. In fact, this might as well be a part of the Disney nature lineup. Not to mention how it's often used to recreate some of the iconic moments of the movie. This is especially effective when giving new depth to the Circle of Life opening. If there is one title this movie can proudly hold, it's that it stands as a true testament that technology can perfectly capture realism. So with visuals this amazing, there's no way that it can be a problem for the movie, right? Okay, here's the thing. Yes, the visuals themselves are fantastic. We can all be on the same page there. But the only problem with them is that they may not be the right fit for this movie in particular. You see, The Lion King is a story that's made exclusively for animation. The Broadway show is kind of an exception, but like I said before, it was crafted specifically as a talking animals cartoon. And as a cartoon, the animators had the liberty of slightly altering the animals to have their characters look distinct from each other and for the viewers to easily read their facial expressions. You watch the movie and you could tell in their eyes when they have fear, sadness, anger, pride, and more, which is kind of essential since the film heavily relies on having the audience be emotionally invested in the characters. In the remake, however, considering its top priority is the realism, the characters don't have any of those facial expressions. No matter how they feel, their face and eyes mostly stay the same, making it harder to see how they feel and, most consequentially, harder to be connected with these characters. It's weird because this wasn't an issue with the 2016 Jungle Book, so how can the filmmakers mess that up here? As a live-action remake, why not have the lions look more human? Okay, good point. It's unfortunately the price to pay for being photorealistic. Have issues with how the lions all look the same and how every animal always has the same neutral expression? Well, you get what you paid for when seeing a real-life version of The Lion King. Another downgrade this causes with some of the musical numbers. Remember how in the original that the animation became more stylized, colorful, and everything became lively? Well, you ain't getting that here. Instead, all that is replaced by a lot of running.
Alright, I think I got into the visuals enough. Yes, it is a big part of the movie, but there's still a lot more to get into, especially with the writing. How is the story of this Lion King, and how does this give us something new? Well, to be very honest, it's the Lion King, what else can I say? And I don't mean it like, oh, it's immediately good, I mean it like it is exactly the same as the animated film.
What can be the biggest criticism as a movie here is that this is 98% exactly like the animated film. Like, it remakes so much of what the first film did that it is very near the shot-to-shot levels of 1998's Psycho. No new significant characters, no new musical numbers, no additional plot lines that can help extend the already existing characters. It follows the same beat as the 1994 film almost verbatim. And it's not just the story and the characters either. The score is no different from before, and even the songs are mostly the same. With one exception.
So prepare for the coup of the century. Prepare for the murkiest scam.
I'll admit I was wrong, but after hearing that, I do wish that I was right.
The only difference I could find from the original is with the hyenas, which were given a fresh and well-crafted take with Florence Kasumba's threatening approach and the comedic styles of Keegan-Michael Key and Eric Andre. On a side note, I'll also give credit to Timon and Pumbaa by Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen respectively for having their share of funny moments. Not all the time, but they can hit the mark. Speaking of which, with the voice acting, I'll just say that it's fine. Not great, but they're okay. On their own, the actors did a good job, and some are good singers, especially the kids. But it is noticeable how a lot of them are less giving out their own style and more imitating what the original actors did, resulting in the performance to feel less genuine. And as for James Earl Jones reprising his role as Mufasa, I don't know if he's either getting too old for this or he threw all his cares out the window.
Until the little hairball was born.
That hairball is my son and your future king.
Not always, Scar. One day, it will be my son who rules. Simba will be your king.
It's honestly very tough to express how I feel about this Lion King. The biggest conflict is that its pros are also its cons. Sure, it did give me The Lion King, but it gave me the exact same movie, but through a photorealistic lens. And for some like me, that is not enough to merit an entirely new movie.
The 2019 remake of The Lion King is just like the original 1994 film, but everything comes with a catch. The visual effects are amazing in capturing realism, but they make the characters hard to connect with due to their lack of facial expressions. The voice acting is good, but the actors are trying to be like the originals then give their own performance. And it stays very true to the animated film, but it delivers little to nothing new to differentiate itself from its source material, resulting in an experience that ends up feeling dull with no surprises to spice the experience up. In terms of my recommendation, I'll just say to you that this is the exact same film, but with real animals. If that's enough to make you want to go check it out, then more power to you. But if you want a bit more out of this than the same movie as before, then you might as well skip this and stick with the original. As for my rating, I honestly give this a 5 out of 10. It has forgotten what it is and forgot that it is more than what it became.
There is one more thing I would like to discuss about this movie in particular. No, I'm not going to be lecturing about Disney live-action remakes and how they're all unnecessary. I've already done that plenty of times before. But instead, I want to finally put my piece on a controversial topic that's been going on ever since the movie's announcement. So, it is finally my turn to answer the question, is The Lion King remake an animated film?
I know this may sound like a silly question, but you'd be surprised how this question can spark some heated debates in both the film and animation community. And I don't blame both sides either, because it is a tricky question to answer with valid points on both ends. On one hand, this is a part of the Disney live-action remakes whose existence is because of the same reasons as the 2017 Beauty and the Beast and the 2019 Aladdin, plus the fact that everything is depicted realistically, like to make it look live-action. On the other hand though, everything in this movie, if not 99.9% of this, is entirely crafted in CGI. There are no live humans, no real animals, no motion capture, and even the environments are entirely made with computer animation. And yet, this still leaves people entirely split on what to call it. Even Jon Favreau himself is confused with the question. In fact, even he stated, well, it's difficult because it's neither really. It depends what standard you're using. Because there's no real animals, and there's no real cameras, and there's not even any performances that's being captured that's underlying data that's real. Everything is coming through the hands of artists. But to say it's animated, I think it's misleading as far as what the expectations might be. And it also changes the way you sit and watch it, because hopefully you could just watch it without being introduced. So after I took some time to sit and think about the question, I think I found the answer to this. Or at least what I think it is. And the answer is, it's undeniably an animated film. Here's the thing. Yes, it's trying to be photorealistic, but you do know that photorealism can count as an art style, right? And this is not the first time that an animated film tried to do that, like with Warner Brothers' Happy Feet and Ralph Bakshi's American Pop. And there are other movies that use more live-action elements than the Lion King remake, like the motion captures of the Polar Express and the Adventures of Tintin, and the real backgrounds that were filmed for Disney's Dinosaur. Yet all those films are still considered an animated feature, so there's no reason to not call this an animated film, right? Who would say otherwise? Well, that would be Disney, and it's not for any of the artistic reasons, but they don't want you to call this an animated film for marketing reasons. Sadly, even if fans say otherwise, animation is still viewed by the general public as a kid genre. You say animation and they'll still think of goofy rubber hose cartoons with over-the-top slapstick comedy geared only for children. It doesn't help either when some animated films nowadays end up enforcing that genre stereotype then to contradict it. One thing Favreau was right was when he said that calling this an animated film would change the way you see it. What Disney wants is for people to take this seriously, to treat it like one of their Marvel or Star Wars movies and to be viewed in the same league as them. If you call it an animated film, then the public would view The Lion King the same way they do with Toy Story, The Secret Life of Pets, or the Angry Birds movie, and many of the adults would feel less encouraged to see it for themselves or don't have to bring their kids for this. If the purpose of this is the same as their live-action remakes, then why not market it the same way as them? Especially if it's to differentiate itself from the actual animated movie it's based on.
I've seen many who got frustrated about this topic, but But for Disney, it's nothing really personal. It's just business. They depend on the media to call it a live-action remake in order to have this stand out, in order to have this look more unique, per se. If Disney would go and market this as an animated film, then, let's be honest, not many people would really be that interested. Like, imagine Disney would go and market it out as another animated Lion King movie. Do you think people would go and watch that? Definitely not. I mean, it's enough that we got 2 sequels anyways. And that is why that Disney doesn't want you to call it an animated film, so that it would give the remake a purpose, to make it stand out, and to tell you that you need to go see this to experience your favorite movie in a unique way, in a way that you have never seen before. But after seeing this, now that I have witnessed that there's very little differences between this and the original animated feature, I think Disney really does need all the marketing they could get to sell this one. See you later, dudes!
You'll get it, Simba. Just takes time.